I know more than some the way that it can be art versus commerce in the business that people call show. I never did, even though I was in it for a while. But I'm aware that when people are doing well, getting regular work, either in films or telly or theatre, then it can be because of the work you do. You can be a chameleon-like actor and you can be employed for that reason. That's very few actors in my experience. Most actors are employed, if we're honest, I think, because of the skills they've got, specific skills, and that's a great thing, because it may well be you do comedy, you're ideal for this part, you bring something to this part that no one else does, that's your niche. I'm aware of that, and to be aware of that in the business of show business is really important, I think. Also, you can be employed because you get on well with others, you work well with others. And it's like that in any industry, isn't it? There's a phrase, works everywhere once, because the contracts generally in acting can be and are smaller. So generally works everywhere once. The implication being that doesn't go back anywhere because not good to work with. And the third of those is that you look right. Now, that is very specific for TV and it's very specific for film. And I made acting my career for about 10 years or so. And I got fairly regular work. And I had a certain niche and I was aware of that. I was also aware that during the period when I got quite a few adverts in Britain and abroad, I was aware that I filled a certain criteria or had a certain set of skills, comedy skills in this instance, and I was a look that they wanted. And I was also aware, I didn't have this then, of course, I was also aware that it wasn't going to last forever. And indeed it didn't. Casting directors moved on, audiences moved on, taste moved on. And if you have, I think, an overview of that, it's far easier when that taste does move on. Now, being a Hollywood actor is a lot worse or a lot more difficult because if you've been involved in films that may have made great amounts of money and then you're involved in films that may not have made as much money and then you're involved in films that don't make very much money at all, at some point, casting directors, producers, writers, people in the industry are going to turn away from you because they've already thought that audiences have turned away from you. And it's not that easy. It's not that, it's not that simple because you may be doing great work and you may be actually doing films that loads of people go to see, but the narrative on screen, in papers, on TikTok, on YouTube, whatever, is that you're not doing as well as you were. So even if you are, or it's just a little bit less, the narrative might be, it's over. Now, I'm not saying that is the case for Will Smith at all, but the narrative does that. And what also feeds into this is that he's released an album, and it's called Based on a True Story, and it's with DJ Jazzy Jeff, and it's with some other collaborators as well. And he hasn't done an album for 25 years. And that makes people say, rightly or wrongly, and it could be wrongly, folks, let's say that. Rightly or wrongly, they say, well, he did that many years ago. Then he became a famous Hollywood actor. Very famous, very big. And now he's going back to that. It seems like a backward step. It might not be. He might have had a hankering to do this for many years, decades, and said, this is the right time to do it. But with all of that kind of hoopla around the slap at the Oscars and all of that, it's no surprise that the first track you get is a thing called In the Barbershop. And it's voices, and the first thing you hear is, Will Smith, didn't he get cancelled? And there's lots of chat about Will, lots of bad chat. Don't you know he did this? Don't you know he did that? Now, the thing about that and starting an album with that is it feeds into that narrative. It feeds into that narrative of people saying, well, he's not as popular as he used to be. Because what it says is, in my view, I hear you. And if he wants to do it tongue-in-cheek and be self-deprecating, kind of almost gets there, but doesn't quite. It does sometimes seem on this album, certainly with the braggadociousness of "this is who I am," that he's sort of whining about not having that kind of work. And people might say, down to your last 5 million, are you? And people generally don't like that. That might be a UK thing. In the US, it might be, give him another chance. But I don't know if it is. I'm not aware of any huge movies that he made. He just did Bad Boys, didn't he? People were saying, well, he'd have to go back and do that. That was a movie he made on the way up. Now it's a movie that he's made again. So, back to this album, which actually, folks, Follocks, listening to Steve Swift's Rambling Reviews here and now, it ain't that good. After, in a barber shop, and I'm looking at my notes here to make sure I get everything right, you've got You Looking For Me, and I like his fast rap. It's kind of what Eminem would do if Eminem was on Mogadon and a little bit slower and, he decided to chill out a bit. But it's got old school beats and a church organ, and it's got I'm everywhere, you're looking for me, I'm on your TV, I'm on your... That kind of, look at me, I'm doing loads of things, is, if you have to say it, we kind of feel there's a problem with it. You know, where you might question somebody's, I don't know, they might say, look at me, I'm living a jet set lifestyle. And you might say, well, I'm not quite sure you've got that much money. Yeah, well, I've got this much money, and look, here's my bank account, and look at that. Look how much money I've got. You kind of think, well, if you have to tell me, you might not have as much as we thought. So that's a problem for me. Sometimes this works. Bulletproof with Jack Ross works as more of an attack with a one-note piano. And there is a really nice, and I'd forgotten how this gentleman and DJ Jazzy Jeff, Smith and Jeff, not Mutt and Jeff, Smith and Jeff, were very chart-based, I mean, there's Boom Boom Shake Shake the Room, ain't there? There's Summertime, isn't there? And there's also, I don't know if DJ Jazzy Jeff was there at this time, but We Are the Men in Black, Furniture Restorers, or something like that. So I do like the chart nature of this kind of country feel of Bulletproof. I like that. I love Hard Times, not Dark Times, Hard Times. It's the best thing here. Why? It's smooth, it's disco bass, it's jazzy piano. It's the first track, and we are 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 or 5 in, that's really hit me, I have to say. Beautiful Scars it's triumphant and bombastic, and look at what I've come through. Now I've got these beautiful scars. It's that sort of thing, unless I'm very much mistaken, and I could be. Tantrum is a bigging up feel. It's got an attacking rap to it. It's got that deep synth pulse, which is almost kind of grind and all that kind of stuff. Attacking rap, it's fast. I've heard it before. But First Love, even though he talks about being a public figure, stop it now. Just stop it. Is something different. Spanish guitar, vocals from India, Spanish vocals as well, from India Martinez, I think. The stomping and the guitar, the kind of flamenco type thing, with which backs the rap here is lovely. You've got Jaden in there who has a rougher rap. I like that a lot. I also like You Can Make It, which is sort of that, come on, you can do it. But you almost feel that he's telling himself with those Marshall drums and the gospel backing vocals. You've got Adversity Was a Gift and all of that. Yeah, it is a similar rap, I have to say that. And I'm a Work of Art, late on in the album, contains the line, now they're framing me. I don't know if I'm reading stuff in, and I will be, and so will loads of other people. But that's the problem, isn't it? This is old style in this track. It's got ordinary backing. He's bigging himself up, in my view. And I think this album is really ordinary. There's very little that makes me think, going somewhere with this. It's almost as if he's saying, listen, this is what we used to be like, but look, this is me now, and I've been hard done by, God damn it. That's the feeling I get. I could be wrong, but that is the feeling I get. It's not entirely attractive, and it's not absolutely great to see Will Smith back because in this rapping way, because he's forcing it. And the great thing about Will Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff, but definitely Will Smith, is that it always seemed natural. Ta-ta.